Presentation outline. I'm going to have introduction, objective of the study, methodology, finding, and recommendation. As an introduction, IR is an institutional repository, is a set of service provided by university to its member for managing and disseminating digital material created by institution and its member. The main role of institutional repository, whether from the university or from the research perspective, their role is the same. The main role is disseminating knowledge, and it's all institutional repository. The second mandate is create visibility for the research and preserving knowledge and digital archive. The objective of my study is to assess the current status of the institutional repository in Botswana, with the focus on how the repository manager addressing the digital preservation issues. The sub-objective is including the first one, assessing the operational characteristic of IR in selected universities, examining the digital preservation practice and metadata standard used by institutional manager, investigating server space and storage management strategies, identifying challenge to long-term digital preservation. At the end, we are going to propose intervention to enhance the sustainability and best practice of digital stewardship. Methodology and the second methodology. This study is applied the mixed approach. When I say mixed approach, semi-structured interview, document analysis, and data and observation. Though the study actually it was planned to conduct semi-structured interview, due to time constraint and some logistical problem, I could not conduct the interview. Whereas I managed to distribute the questionnaire, open-ended questionnaire, to respective research participants, and also as a part of my PhD study, I conducted document analysis to assess the current status of Botswana institutional repository, and I also visit and examine all Botswana registered institutional repository under open DORA to gain a clear understanding of their operational status and accessibility. The scope of the study, based on my finding from open DORA, this study is only focused on four institutions in Botswana, though there are more than 5. There are 6 universities, but only 4 universities have institutional repository, which means University of Botswana, Botho University, BUA, and BUST institutional repository. The finding of my study, the first one is operational characteristics. All selected university, all of them, they are using this space, and the establishment date, most of them they are young. Start UB 2010 up to 2012, and followed by UB Botho and BUA 2016 up to 2018. They are actively restructuring the institutional repository, and BUST is start hosting from 2017 up to 2029. And infrastructure of the institutional repository, most of them they are using the host is they are using the local server to host the institutional repository. Only one institution mentioned that they are using hybrid, which means the cloud one and then the local server to host the institutional repository. From the digital preservation perspective, the metadata standard, all 4 universities have been using only Dublin Core, and then all IR manager were not aware the advantage of preserving metadata implementation strategy, which is an international standard specially designed for digital preservation. The policy, the finding also assess how to what extent the university have a institutional policy which are aligned for preservation. Only 2 universities, they mentioned that, as I mentioned here, only 2 universities mentioned they have a digital repository, digital data preservation policy, which is aligned with the existing university digital preservation policy. They don't have a specific institutional data preservation policy. And the server space management also indicate that, the IR manager indicate that storage space is very limited. Some of them are indicating that they are using file compression during compressing the file during uploading to reduce server space storage need, and cloud adaptation. Minimal use of cloud or hybrid solution due to cost and policy limitation. They mentioned that though they identified the advantage, they are aware that the advantage of cloud as a second option, but due to some budget constraint, they are not be 100% consume the cloud and this hybrid solution. And most repositories do not have formal retention or withdrawal policy. All institutional repositories which are engaged in this survey, in this research, they mention that they don't have retention policy or withdrawal policy. Items remain in for a long time without withdrawal, or sometimes due to some issue of copyright or some ethical issue, misconduct, the author may be requested to remove the item. Or sometimes they mention that some author they request to withdraw the manuscript for publication issue. In many cases, withdrawal items are not be preserved with metadata, but simply just removed from the system. Identifying challenge for too long-term digital preservation, limited server capacity, what most of them they are mentioning that, poor backup system, they don't have proper backup system, and lack of preservation strategy. Absence of IR specific preservation policy, and depend most of all the research participants mentioned that the more technical part are depending on the IT expert, and with a limited training in IR management, they don't have that. The IT officer, they don't have more detailed understanding on the nitty-gritty of IR. Apart from they have a technical expertise, and if there is no proper handover between the IT officers, because in IT field there is high turnover, and also there is no dedicated budget or there is no dedicated personnel for repository for managing the repository, which is create a big problem in repository sustainability. Proposed intervention, institution has to develop an institutional repository data stewardship policy or guideline to support server space management. This guideline have supposed to be directing on depositing data in suitable format, applying file comparison where appropriate, using standard metadata standard, and specify retention period for the file and dataset This will help to manage the data, the server problem, the shortage of server problem, and also develop IR specific digital preservation and sustainability policy, which are aligned with the digital object retention policy of the institution. All institution, the university, they have to have a digital object retention policy. This is really a big challenge in most institutions. They don't have a digital object retention policy. Metadata practice incorporate preservation metadata, or with a PREMIS, along with Dublin Core, and respective individual or experts. They have to aware the advantage of this PREMIS for digital preservation. So we have to, as information professional, we have to work together and campaign on the advantage of metadata standard, how it is have direct implication on the sustainability of institutional repository, and also continuous training for librarian and IT staff in digital preservation practice. This is all from my side. Thank you.